It's 19 minutes to 7 and we've been promising live Troving this morning. We're going to dive into the Trove archive live and see what we can find out. Dr. Iain Stuart joins us, President of the Royal Australian Historical Society, to tell us more and to do some live Troving. Dr. Stuart, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Yeah, good. What is Trove?
Okay, Trove is it can be best described as a digital library. It brings together a whole range of online initiatives into one spot so that you can search online a whole variety of different databases and files and things like that. So it has various components. It has the Australian newspapers. It has Picture Australia's collections. It has diaries, music, audios, and it brings together stuff. For example, the Museum of Applied Arts and Sciences has stuff online. You can find them through Trove.
Okay, so it's pretty extraordinary, isn't it? Do most nations do this now? This is the National Library of Australia does this for Australians. It's the same thing happening in the UK?
Yeah, look, the same thing is happening in the UK, but it's a bit fractured. The same thing's happening in New Zealand. America, of course, is split into different states, and it's not as coherent. So it's a look. It is also happening in France. I might also point out. I think the National Library was ahead of the game on this, particularly with the digital newspapers.
Yeah, but it is a great thing. It's an extraordinary research. Those that want to research family history or local history or anything else do find it quite extraordinary. It's, you're not sitting in the library going through big files of newspapers or looking at the microfiche. It's all there at home.
Oh, absolutely. It's revolutionised historical research. My boss at Artefact Heritage has written to the Minister pointing this out, that we are professional consultants doing history and archaeology, and this has just made our work so much easier and reduced the cost to the government of doing things like compliances through environmental impact statements.
Yep.
So it works from the local community right up to the professional historians.
Now, Peter Simons joins us as well, and he's been a creator of a petition to the government, because the issue is that Trove is running out of money, Peter.
That's right. It's the budget runs out in July, and we're not sure whether it's going to continue. It's been slated to July, but as far as I'm aware, there's no guarantee of it going beyond that.
Well, hopefully, you've got a May budget coming up, so hopefully there'll be something in that. And they do seem to be moving, government does seem to be moving its attention to these national institutions, which have been sadly underfunded in many ways.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Like there's as you probably know, the federal government released their, Revive arts policy. But as far as I know, Trove wasn't specifically mentioned in that. I know they've been talking a lot about supporting institutions like the National Library of Australia. But we want to guarantee it, and we'd like it funded, properly, not just sort of drip-fed money, which has been happening the last little while. Yeah,
exactly. Just it's one of those things. Just make it happen. It's an excellent thing. Thanks for Trove fans that are texting in. It's a gift to us all. My 15 years of searching has revealed amazing information about 7 generations of my ancestors. I discovered my grandparents got divorced, something my own mother never revealed. My 5 times great-grandfather was a wrestler who threw his drunk wife down a well. She drowned. Wasn't ready for that one. So, yeah, absolutely extraordinary what you can find. Now, Peter, are you happy to do some live troving for us today?
Oh, live troving. That sounds like what I've been wanting to do all my life, James.
Yeah. I think it should be a national sport. And I'm very keen to get it. I'm just trawling through some of the questions that have come in so far to see what looking for one that I think will be suitable for you, that you can find. Well, we had the one a little earlier. Let me just see if I can find that one again, which had a name, and it was to do with him with his father being shot. Sorry, now I can't find it. Of course, where's it gone? I'm in the wrong area. Here it is. So I'm going to give you a name. The name is David Braun. He spelled it B-R-A-W-N.
David Braun, yep.
David is now 87.
Right.
He was shot when he was about 13. Now, does that get us into the Trove area? That's some 70 years ago.
Let's have a look. I've hit research. Boy shot himself.
It said it was in the Herald, and it says that the newspaper misreported that he accidentally shot himself. He wants it known that it was his friend who accidentally shot him, and then ran away. So I'm going to I'll leave you with that for a moment or two. Let's see if you can find anything there, and see what we can uncover. Iain Stuart, what is Trove expensive? What do we get out of having Trove?
Look, I think it is a bit expensive. The cost is hidden. It's the cost of running a website. It's a cost of making sure all the information that you come in is compatible, is searchable, that the links are maintained, that there's security, because you obviously don't want someone to cover the whole thing with Free Ukraine sort of stuff. So there's a lot of back behind the scenes stuff. And I think if the money runs out, we're not going to see them turn it off. But I think what's going to happen is it's gradually just not going to have any maintenance. Yeah. New things aren't going to be added, and it's gradually going to degrade over time.
Yeah, that's right. So, but it goes to the National Film and Sound Archive have this problem as well. If we don't move these archives, the Australian Archive has this problem. If we don't move these archives into the digital domain, well, they're going to degrade and become inaccessible anyway.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think the digital domain is, in fact, the way of conserving rare and valuable items from people who want to look at them. Because every time you look at, say, a particular artefact, it can often enhance its degrading. So if you have 3D digital images, it's often easier to look at them. And that's the way archaeology is going with a lot of their finds. They're turning them into 3D models that can be hosted online, and then people can measure and do whatever they have to do online using the model.
Yeah, well, I heard a paleontology story on this the other day, where they can now look inside a sample. They don't have to degrade the sample. They can just look inside it and see what's there. So we can do extraordinary things once these things are in the digital area. Meredith.
Yes. Hi, James.
Now, your father is David Braun.
Yes, he's my father. Yep.
And has this been something that's always annoyed him?
Yes, he wants everyone to know that the story that was printed back in, 1940 something or other is wrong.
Is wrong. That he was shot by his friend. The friend never came forward.
No, I don't believe so. So I think the newspaper said that he accidentally shot himself with his father's gun, but what happened was his friend accidentally shot him and then ran away.
Yeah. Let's see what Peter Simons has found. It's live troving. Peter got this assignment some 4 minutes ago. How'd you go, Peter?
Okay, well, we've got another article from 1948, 4th March 1948. It says, this is from the Northern Star Lismore. David Braun was found had been shot by a man in the school ground, according to the Northern Star.
Okay.
Which is a change to the original article. Yep. Oh, no, yeah. That's as far as I've got so far.
Well, it's pretty good. Meredith, is this the right story, Lismore?
Well, I think he was in Gosford. But there was a Lismore connection, so maybe Lismore was interested in what had happened to him.
Yeah, right. Okay. And so this reports that he was shot by somebody else, at least, Peter.
Yes, that's what it says. Yeah. We could take it up with the 1948 Northern Star, but that could be difficult. But look, that's what I've got so far for David Braun. That's Brawn, yeah, you said?
Yeah. Do we get the spelling right, Meredith? Yeah. I'm assuming you spelled your father's name right. Not bad. But you can see how you can then start to trace these kind of things. Let me try. This is perhaps a slightly easier one, and perhaps a very common Sydney tale. Meredith, thanks so much for getting through to that. I'll make sure that Peter sends you some of these links. This is the sort of thing I thought might be quite useful to illustrate how Trove works. Is it Paulie?
It's Paul here.
Paul, hello, Paul. Yeah, what did you want to tell us? Ask about?
Well, this was a story of my mother's. The tickets, an amphitheatre was built on the slopes of Balmoral, and tickets were sold to see Jesus walking in through the heads, presumably on the water.
Yes, and this is, when do you think it is?
I would say around the 1930s.
Yes. And there is a sort of amphitheatre thing in that area, I think. Peter Simons, is that one you can dig into and find?
I'll give it a go. Can you? So this is where Balmoral was it?
Balmoral. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm giving it a go.
Let's see what Peter can find, and we'll give him a few minutes. Live troving, you can see it's an action sport. It's going to imagine we had the big screens. You know, there's thousands of people packing an arena. You can have competition. Peter and various historians could go for it. Iain Stuart, I'm figuring out a way to turn history into pretty much a contact sport.
I agree. I was just thinking about this, that the professional historians perhaps could have a contest during History Week with all the different historians and maybe a couple of professors, and we could all collect questions. We could all simply go, time and quality of answer.
You've got Trove. You can possibly phone a friend. If you've got someone, go, I know who's done the work on this. You might be allowed to get away with that and go on. Do you feel confident in the kind of expressions that we're hearing from federal government on these national institutions? And I think sometimes in Sydney we don't quite realise how important things like National Library are, National Gallery and the like, the Australian Archive, that these are extraordinary, foundation stones of the nation. Are you feeling confident that money's going to flow?
Look, I think so, but I really want the system. I really think the system needs to change. We can't have this system where every 5 years Trove is in threat, and every 5 years National Archives is in threat, and every 5 years the library roof leaks, and you have the cycles of people running these campaigns. It should be better. It's better government to have these things properly organised and funded in an appropriate way so people can plan ahead. Yeah. And I think it's a failure of our government administration. And I can understand politicians like giving grants every 5 years. It gives them a sort of warm and fuzzy feeling. But in terms of trying to organise these things and proper planning, it needs to be done on a systematic basis. And I think the national institutions have suffered from the efficiency dividends, which have been going on for as long as I can remember. Yeah. When I first started, I think 30-odd years ago in the Victorian Public Service, there was an efficiency dividend. Yep. So it's just cut to the bone.
I know. It's one thing to see it, yes, okay, it's part of the public service, but these are essential national things that it's not that they come and go, and they have long-term projects that need to be funded. Peter, Balmoral Amphitheatre to await the coming of Jesus. What did you find?
Okay, we have got something. This is from the Sydney Morning Herald, 1954. Apparently, I'm just skimming through it quickly. Amphitheatre, a gentleman by the name of, it's an Indian name, forgive the pronunciation, Krishnamurti, I think. Here we go. She told the world, victim. So I'm just scanning through quickly. They were waiting around. Some said Krishnamurti would walk on the water through Sydney Head to his glory. But James, he didn't come.
He didn't.
Peter,
thanks for
Peter,
thanks for the live troving. Excellent work there. If people want to find the petition to support Trove, where do they go?
Yes. They just type into your favourite search engine, fully fund Trove, change.org, and it should turn up.
All right, terrific. Thanks. Peter Simons and Dr. Iain Stuart, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Great to talk with you, and thanks for those excellent questions pouring in for Live Trove.